All right, here we go. Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets. I'm your host, Slow Steph, and I'm back here for episode 180. 180. That's a big milestone, man. We 100 away from 280, 20 away from 200. And yeah, man, we back here. This is a big week in terms of entertainment. Actually, like February, some years it is a big time period for entertainment. So tonight we're gonna talk about the Grammys. We're gonna talk a little bit about the reception of that, and just kind of the genres and stuff that kind of pertain to me and what I like. I know there's a lot of other things in the Grammys that we can get into, but we're just gonna talk about the culture and stuff like that. Then we're gonna talk a little bit about the NBA trade deadline. That was kind of crazy. And because there were some big moves, including the Luka to the Lakers trade for AD, which was very unprecedented and very surprising to a lot of people. And we're gonna get into that. Also, some of those other things in terms of trades. There's some smaller trades, but still moves nonetheless. We'll see kind of which moves can take some of these teams ahead in the standings and leading into the playoff push. And then we are going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl again, but kind of a different way, because been watching the show and it's relating back to the Super Bowl in a unlikely way. But we are going to talk about, and it's going to include food. We're going to talk about Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, which is one of my favorite shows. And because all the restaurants that he's featuring are in New Orleans, and that's a big part of traveling. Eating is a big part of it. So we'll get into that to wrap up the show. So let's get started though. If you're new to the channel, I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join the conversation, leave a comment, share the content with anybody that you know. You can also check us out on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, especially, even Snapchat. I'm even on there. So there's a lot still going on in the world, and I think there's a couple of things, because I don't want to make this every week into necessarily talking about what the president is doing, but we definitely are going to be talking about just some of these changes, because it feels like a lot of things are changing at a rapid rate. I think some of the things that are going on and what we're hearing and what we're seeing in headlines, I think some of it is tactics. I think he does kind of bluff a little bit, and he's even admitted to such, to where he says basically he tells you what the end game is if you don't comply, and then they try to come to negotiations, because he's saying a lot of different things. We won't talk about tariffs because it seems like there's a lot of bit of back and forth going on, and kind of want to see how things kind of take shape and how it affects us before we kind of get into it, and because we'll get lost in that. We can get lost in that pretty quick, because this stuff has been rapidly changing. Strangely, there have been more plane crashes lately, some wild ones, and I don't know. It's one of those things where it's since one thing happens, is it a chain reaction, or are we just now hypersensitive, and are we only showing these plane crashes? We'll kind of dig into that at some point, try to look at the statistics and try to compare what's happened throughout history in terms of aviation and plane crashes versus what's kind of going on in the last couple of weeks in this uptick. Is it a real uptick, or are we just kind of hyper focused on the coverage of it because it's sensational and it makes us worry and things like that? So we'll think about that in some future episodes. I do look forward to my man Montez Parker. He reached out to me. He wants to get back on the podcast and he wants to talk about Trump. So I do want to talk about Trump with somebody that's pretty intelligent, and I want to hear his point of view, because he's former military and also works in security. And we talked about I remember the last time that I had him on in 2024. It was kind of right after, I think it was after the Trump assassination attempt. So we talking about just all about that type of stuff. So I am wondering his perspective, especially as it comes to like when it comes to foreign policy and what he thinks. So we'll get into that in the future. But let's start off with the Grammys, man. So the Grammys, is this the 66 Grammys, 67 Grammys? Nonetheless, the Grammys of 2025, which recognizes everything that kind of went on the year before or upon us. And we got some big winners, some people, and there's a lot of hate going on with some of these winners. But the biggest winner of the night, maybe not by sheer volume of awards, but just because of what they accomplished. And we gotta, we're gonna give a shout out to Queen Bee and the Beehive because Beyonce won Album of the Year for Cowboy Carter. Now, I'm not gonna say I'm a Beyonce supporter. Have I fully dove into all her projects, especially this project? No, not in particular. But I still have to. I think you got to give credit. I'm not gonna down talk anybody else's project, and I'm not gonna say other projects and other artists were not deserving of this award. That's not my stance at all, because I feel like music has been in a weird space, and unless you're gravitating towards specific artists like Beyonce, it's you're not necessarily compelled to listen to everybody because some people are new, or like it's certain genres that are like kind of taking over, or a little bit more popular right now. Like hip hop, it had its run for a couple years where it was like the hottest genre, and then like we've seen in the numbers that it's kind of tailed off a little bit. So like I don't know what's going on in the country world. I don't know what's going on in the pop world or the rock world. I only know what's going on in hip hop. But with an artist like Beyonce, uh, I feel like it's well deserved in the sense of it's about time. So this was like her sixth time being nominated for Album of the Year, and a lot of people feel that she's probably should have won this award several times over. So like, is it a case of them just kind of giving it to her? I wouldn't necessarily say that. Now, when I look at the nominees, the fact is I don't necessarily know all those projects, and I don't even know all those artists. However, if I look at it based off of like just stature, based off of name, and I look at the other artists, I'm thinking like, yeah, if Beyonce would lose in this particular year, it'll look a little wild. It would look a little wild. So, but shit, man, shout out to her for winning Album of the Year. This is the fourth Black woman to win Album of the Year, and I seen somebody make a post about that where in the last 66 years, it's only been four Black women, and I don't want to. I think that kind of minimizes like just in general people of color and like everything that we've done, because I started to look back at all the different Grammys, and I would say men and women of color of all genres have won 16 album of the year Grammys, right? Over the course of time, which is that's a little bit less than a quarter of all the Grammys, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because I music is the one thing that kind of goes across color lines and backgrounds and things like that. So like we can't just like kind of pigeonhole everything, and even though in the Black community, like we do kind of set the pulse for a lot of what goes on in culture and like what's cool, but like we don't necessarily own the right or the space to say that like we always make the best music, because Album of the Year, that's the hardest award to win. It's going across all genres. It's male or female, and then it's solo and group acts. So when you look at the great people that won it in the past, like I feel like for the most part, yeah, they deserved it. Even if it was an album I never heard of, even if it's a genre I never heard, who am I to say? I'm not gonna take away from any particular artist. So I'm not gonna do the same thing for Beyonce. Now, Um, I think it was a surprise when she won. I think she was really surprised when she won Country Album of the Year. And it's almost like it was almost a precursor for her winning Album of the Year because winning Country Album of the Year shows that like, all right, her album is one of the best albums of all the genres out there. And Country Album of the Year, that's definitely a genre, and I'm not gonna speak on and say like, oh well, she performed better than this person, she performed better than that person. What I know is right, this album was labeled whether you label her a country artist or you label her music was able to be put in the country music category, right? And what I do know about Cowboy Carter is that it went platinum in 4 days, right? So I don't know how other artists in the country genre are doing, but I'm willing to bet that none of them went platinum in four days. I'm just almost willing to bet that. And so there's that. There's that. So one country album of the year. What else did she win? What else did she win? She won, yeah, but and I think she won like for but like I think do like a duo, like a best duo or performance, and I think it was an award with Miley Cyrus. But the thing is though, the irony of this criticism, because what I'm seeing is it's a lot of people saying that she doesn't deserve these awards. Now, within the country genre, I think they maybe they have a little bit more weight to stand on, because it's their music and stuff like that. A lot of times we do feel like it's kind of racially based, which again we can go there, but also too we don't have nobody in the last couple decades that have been black that have kind of set the tone or even made music in the country genre. Like we have there's a couple acts, but to automatically just say like, oh, the country artist they're not accepting her because like I don't know. I don't know. It's a kind of I'm kind of conflicted with that. But I feel like they have the people within the country world, they have a little bit more leg to stand on to critique and say if she fits in the genre or not. But in terms of sheer numbers, you know, was she outperformed? You know, she did not get a nomination from the CMAs, so I think that's where the country folks are saying, well, like she shouldn't have been nominated for a country album at all. She wasn't even nominated for the CMAs. But the thing is, the reason why I say the criticism is ironic is because a lot of the criticism is coming from other black people, and everyone's saying she didn't deserve it. But the thing is, though, how many times have we expressed our frustrations about the winners and how black artists are overlooked? Like that's the talk all the time is about black artists being overlooked, and they're not representing us in these genres. And now that a black artist is on the getting the better half, they're not getting the short end of the stick. Now it's a problem, but then it's a problem amongst black people. I don't know. um we'll see though, we'll see, man. But now I think she's won 32 Grammys. Is that what it is? Or has she won 60 Grammys? How many hold up. She is the most nominated, and she now has the record for most Grammys won. Let's see how many Grammys. How many Grammys has Beyonce won? Oh, 35. She's at 35 Grammys now. So yeah, and adding this year's wins, Beyonce holds the title for the most awarded artist in Grammys history with 35. Trophies aside, she has been setting the standard for creating culture shifting moments in music and pop culture for years now. So remember, I think the last Grammys she won for best dance album. Now she won for best country album. She won the best album, and I think people are excited. She's about to go on tour, so we're gonna see her go on tour, and then probably after the tour, probably sometime in 2026, because this is gonna be the year that she tours this album. So yeah, that's how Renaissance was. Renaissance, yeah, she had Renaissance. The album kind of did its thing, and then she went on tour, and then now this Cowboy Carter came out in 2024. She's riding that out. Now she's about to go on tour. So she's gonna let this ride out a little bit, and then I think in 2026 we're gonna get that last album of this trilogy. And a lot of people are kind of anticipating like what genre, because that's what she's doing, different genres. So that's the thing there. The fact that she's hopping from R&B to dance and electronic music to country, and still produce music at a high level and that's palatable, and that makes people want to listen to it. Like I feel like just for her ability to be so eclectic, I feel like she deserves some of these Grammys. So shout out to her, man. I'm not gonna take nothing away from her, but sticking with the Grammys, stick with the Grammys. We're gonna move on to the biggest winner in hip hop. The biggest winner in hip hop was Kendrick Lamar, as expected. I mean, everybody expected it. Even uh even Drake expected it, right? He said it in one of his diss songs, but he won for best music video, and that's of all genres. He won Best Rap Song, which was to be expected. He won Best Rap Performance, and he went against songs like for that. He went against songs like Yeah Glow, which that could have won a Grammy for real. Like that, which that was a solid song. That was big. That was huge. And then Doechii's Nissan Altima. And then he won. So those are the rap categories that he won. So three rap categories, basically best music video, best rap song, best rap performance. I think it is music video overall. But then he won Song of the Year. So of all genres, that was the top song. And in terms of like impact, in terms of how much it played, I would agree with that. It also won Record of the Year. Now, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, the slightest difference is that Record of the Year recognizes more of like they recognize the artist, but they didn't recognize the producers and more like the behind the scenes. Song of the Year recognizes like the artist and the song itself, and then Album of the Year, it's the collection, it's the artists, it's and their body of work. So yeah, winning Song of the Year. So if you think about it, like those are the three biggest awards of the Grammy are Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Record of the Year. And if we think about that, man, like I don't think we've ever, as much as people were saying this and that, I'm not hearing enough during Black History Month, right? Yeah, shout out to Black History Month. I'm not hearing enough of people talking about how black people took the triple crown of the Grammys in 2025, right? We got a black woman album of the year, and then we got a brother that had the song and record of the year. Now we can get into the nuances of the fact that, like, oh, it's kind of crazy that uh the first rap song to win song of the year or record of the year is a diss track. Like we can get into that. We can get into those nuances, or we could, get into the fact that like, oh, it took somebody coming at Drake. No, we could get into that, but we're gonna just celebrate the fact that we really got the trifecta this year, and I don't remember a time where we've ever swept it like that. So unless it was like Michael Jackson at any given time or any given point, but um, so good start to 2025 for Fro in the world of music. And then let me think. With this is the only thing the last thing I had to say about Kendrick winning all these awards, because like I said, it was expected. He really wasn't going against too much competition, I would say, for real. Like it was light. And his album came out later. His album came out too late, and I'll get into this a little bit why I think it came out late. But since his album came out later, his album was not eligible. Now, if his album was eligible, he would have definitely won album of the year. So he would have definitely swept the whole rap category, other than like melodic performance and stuff like that. But my thing is this, right? This all starts. So Kendrick Lamar been wanting beef with Drake, and he found an opportunity, and then he found what he did was he found two guys that kind of don't really like Drake right now, and that's Metro Boomin and then Future. And my thing is the irony of this is like y'all Metro Boomin and Future, y'all did all this Drake hate. Y'all basically y'all helped to facilitate it. Y'all started it with like that. Like that is what started the beef for like in 2024. That's what kicked the beef off. And so y'all supported all this Drake hate, and y'all did two albums. Y'all produced y'all put two albums out this year. Y'all working hard. Metro Boomin was mad at Drake the year before for the Grammys, and like what he felt like just feeling his album was slighted. Offer both of them dudes not to win anything this year. Like all y'all did all that. Y'all did all that for what? You know? And maybe this was to get at Drake and to kind of bump him down a notch, but Drake doesn't even always submit all his music. What would have been interesting to me is if Kendrick Lamar would have decided not to submit this stuff for Grammys. That, because people talking about how he's not industry and things like that. Like, you don't get 22 Grammys overall for just if you're not industry, like you enjoy the accolades and you enjoy the process, and I think he's the darling in a lot of people's eyes, especially after he was slighted a long time ago. So, but I just thought it was ironic that Metro and Future, y'all did all that hate for y'all not to come away with nothing. But the category I wanted to talk about, and the award winner I wanted to highlight also was Doechii, another black woman. And Doechii, man, Doechii's album, When Alligators Bite, yeah, When Alligators Bite. I low key thought that was definitely like I agree with the choice. Like I did think that was the album, my favorite album of the year in terms of rap, but I didn't think that it had enough time. It came out in like September. I didn't, and I guess maybe that's right before the cutoff. But I didn't think that it would actually get recognized. I thought that it would take some time for people to kind of get on the Doechii wave. She did have a great Desk performance. I think that kind of helped get her in the eyes of people that matter in terms of like those rooms. Um, but like I said, if Kendrick would have dropped his album GNX a little bit earlier, then he would have probably swept this. However, Doechii's project, man, is very dope. She was really rapping on that album, man. She was telling stories, and then her overall content was very eclectic and very refreshing. She was telling stories on there. She was spitting bars on there. Just even the subject matter was very diverse, and it had a lot of variety to it. And it was unlike anything I've heard in a while, and definitely nothing like I've heard from a rap artist in a while. I would say, yeah, Glorilla's album. I think her album came out probably after the deadline. I would have supported her getting a nod for like an album of the year. Now her singles were out a while, but her album came out in like October. So I think going with the trends, maybe she could still submit it unless she puts out something else in 2025. I think that Glorious could be nominated for a rap album of the year next year. So, but yeah, man, Doechii, man. One thing the reason why I think that although he's not signed to TDE anymore, but I think the reason why Kendrick Lamar did not drop GNX earlier was because Doechii is a TDE artist. And I think, it's just some like that's how TDE always used to work anyway. Like they would like kind of take turns dropping, and just to give the team, somebody on the team, a chance to like be successful without stepping on their project. So, but yeah, Doechii, man, that's somebody. If you have not listened to her yet, you got to check her out. She got a lot of cool songs, and she could really rap, and she could do upbeat type stuff. Like I said, she could tell stories. Like she's a really good storyteller. And like I just don't hear like with female rappers, you hear just a lot of the twerking and bad bitch type of materials. Yeah, I mean, she has melodic songs too. Like she had a real good song back in 2023. Um, that what it is, what's So she has she can play with the different styles. So check that out though, man. So I'm proud of her. I think that's well deserved, and I can't wait to see what's next for her. For real. The first time I heard her was on an Isaiah Rashad song. Isaiah Rashad is another TD artist, and I just you don't know where somebody's gonna go. You just feel like, okay, they're a future artist. She sounded kind of cool on the track that I liked, and then lo and behold, like she had something in the tuck, and she was on her way. She was on her way to blow to the top. So hopefully, man, she gets that love. She gets that love. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, this is a crazy time. And this is probably the best time in the NBA for real. This is the most exciting. This is what makes the NBA kind of worth watching for real. And it's the transactions because it's the NBA trade deadline, and this is probably the most exciting time to watch the NBA. Just in general, the transactions of the NBA are very interesting because they really trade stars for stars. They trade, you get players getting traded for draft picks and money. There's a whole lot of different stipulations and things that go on, and it's in the middle of the season, so some of these teams are making these trades to kind of get ready for the playoff push. And the biggest trade, and I could really briefly talk about this and also, but on Saturday night I was watching boxing and it was some good fights. It was the Benavidez fight, and maybe we'll talk about that at the very end. So super dope, super dope. I'm on my way home, and it's like after midnight, and like I just kind of happened to glance at my phone, and it was on social media though, and it was a headline that said that Luka had got traded for Anthony Davis, and at first I was just like, what? And I was thinking like, all right, this is fake, because like that's the one thing. Social media, depending on the platform, you have to pay attention to like where what account is posting it, because you'll just be looking at it like believe in something and it's totally false. It's just to get people talking. It's like rage bait, so to speak. And I went to ESPN, and lo and behold, it said that Anthony Davis was traded for Luka Doncic. And it was obviously picks and other players involved, but like that's the meat and potatoes. And I was just dumbfounded. And I was just like, what? Like this don't like that's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that they actually pulled that off, or that they even went for that. But I guess the obvious thing to talk about is who won the trade. Who won the trade? So when I think about who won the trade, I think probably in the future, in the long term future, the Lakers probably have won the trade. Right now, actually, maybe the Mavericks have won the trade, right? Because let's break this down. Let's break this down. So um obviously the Mavericks went to the finals last year. They lost. They lost pretty easily. Did they lose in 5 games or 6 games? I feel like they only won one game in that NBA series, final series. However, they kind of pretty much kept the same core. They reloaded with a couple extra pieces, right? They got Spencer Dinwiddie. They got Klay Thompson, right? That was a big thing. But they traded Luka Doncic, and I feel like it's weird in the NBA. I feel like you can get traded even if you're injured, and I think that's kind of strange. But Luka, there's been like 51 games played already this season. 51 games. Luka Doncic has only played in 22 games this year. So he hasn't been giving them what they probably expected. Yeah, right. They're not getting the return on investment, and it's like, if we already played 51 games, even if you played every game for the rest of the season, like you only gonna be playing 40 some games. So you basically miss half the season. So the team is not really getting their money's worth necessarily. And then if we look at the standings, right, the Mavericks are 26 and 25, right? So only one game over 500, and they're the eighth seed. Now people aren't really talking about that. People aren't talking about how the Mavericks have been struggling this season. Everybody's just looking at it like, yo, they're done for trading their best player, so to speak. However, their best player hasn't been on the floor. Sure, when he gets on the floor, can he take you over the top? Yeah, but I don't think this season, just the way it's been going, I don't know if he's beating some of these other teams. It does probably. I don't know if it helps the Lakers out. I think it probably hurts the Lakers at this point in the season because AD was doing his thing this year, and he's he was the star of that team, with LeBron being obviously a big pivotal number two, and then you got another option with Austin Reeves. So the best player on the Lakers currently, right, getting traded for the who is the franchise player of the Mavericks. But yeah, the Mavericks, I know that we're in this age of 10 teams making the playoffs, but it's just not too promising. It's not too promising. Um, but I don't know. I think this move for the Lakers is for the future because I think they understand that LeBron's time is winding down, and you're not gonna build with AD. Like you're not gonna build with a guy like that. So it's like, maybe they can get some because they're probably gonna hopefully like LeBron gets on his thing where he's like, I don't know, LeBron probably has like no trade clauses in the contract. I don't know that for sure. But like I think a team is gonna want to get something for LeBron, but most likely you're not gonna get anything for LeBron. So so LeBron retires and then you have AD, you have Austin Reeves maybe, but it's like, can you really build around that? So it's like, yeah, why not? Why not? Why not get rid of AD and then you have this chip, you have this piece in Luka that can do something. For the Mavericks right now, getting Anthony Davis, who's hasn't missed much time this year, right? He's played over 40 games this season already, and we're 51 in. So he hasn't been this injured person this year that we kind of know him to be, and he gets to move back to power forward. So you got because they got two young guys that could play center and that get real active on the boards. Now, now AD can just kind of play. He could play great help defense. He can stretch the floor. He can shoot more threes, and he kind of has some versatility where he can kind of he can play. He can play. He don't have to just post up. He can really, get buckets. And I think that might be a good addition for a Kyrie to add to what they kind of already got going on. They got PJ Washington, who's been a good piece. Clay Thompson has been okay, but Kyrie has definitely been holding them down. Kyrie's been playing like an all star. AD's playing like an all star, about to make his 10th straight all star appearance, or I don't say 10th straight, but 10th all star appearance. So I don't know. The Mavericks again, they didn't get much for him. It's not like they got one first round draft pick, but which is gonna be like a couple years down the road. But yeah, I don't know. I think it actually, when you take a step back, like it's not the worst trade. It's just kind of crazy because of who Luka has been. Like Luka, and a lot of people love Luka. He's an international star. They feel like the marketing aspect of things. They feel like Dallas is dropping the ball here, but I guess they want to win now. They want to win now. So um, let's see. In terms of this trade, though, there's a lot of rumors going around. There's a lot of narratives that are being pushed, and it's hard to determine what's factual, what's all opinion, what's this maybe a way to kind of like throw shade on Luca. It's hard to tell. So the first thing that they talk about is Luca, the reason why he's kind of fell out of favor because you don't trade a person because of these things, whatever. But why he fell out of favor with Dallas or in Dallas is because they said that he's out of shape, which Luca is out of shape, right? And he has bad conditioning. Like he doesn't work hard, and he doesn't always have the best relationship with the coach because he's like always like arguing calls and things like that. So yeah, Luca is fat. Luca is out of shape. I'm not the biggest Luca fan for like I can recognize that he's nice and he does produce. I can't take that away from him, but I feel like I always look at his game and I be like, yo, this has to come to an end. Like he this can't last forever, and he's definitely not, even though he came in the league at 19. He's not a player that's gonna play for 20 years. He's not gonna have a LeBron James career in terms of longevity, especially with the way that he takes care of his body or the lack of him taking care of his body. It's gonna start catching up with him because once you start to get older, your body don't hold up the same way, and then added weight and not being in the best of shape leads to injuries. And we've seen it. Like he has missed time. He has missed time as a player. And again, this season he's missed half the season. So he's missed more than half of the season at this point, right? Where we're at in the season. So um, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, but they're saying that's one of the reasons. Um, what's another reason? What's another reason? Oh, another reason why they're saying that that Mavericks didn't want to resign him is because he was eligible for the Supermax, and this is a new Supermax contract where a player like Luka would be eligible for a 5-year, $345 million contract. So $345 million, if we calculate that, is that like 69, $70 million a year? Let's see. Let's see. I'll just take 345 divided by 5. Yeah, 69. So about 70. It'll probably be after stuff. It's probably about 70 million. So $69 million a year. I don't like I don't like how like the market like the NBA right now is a failing product, right? It's a failing product in terms of ratings and things like that. But like the contracts and the pay keep going up. And what they do is they stop giving us free games, and then they charge us more for tickets. But it's like I don't know if these players are worth these salaries because they're not even playing 82 games. Some of these guys average maybe 60 games a season, if that, and then they're mad that they're not eligible for awards. And it's like you shouldn't get accolades if you're not playing majority of the season or if you're not playing past a certain threshold. Like that was the standard back in the day. But anyway, um yeah, so they didn't want to pay him that. They didn't want to pay him that. And especially like if he's 25 years old. So, you pay him that for 5 years. And what if you only get like two of those 5 years, if you only get two productive years, out of that, and 3 of the years are like riddled with injuries, and if you don't win a title, is it worth it? Is it worth it, or can you put together a team? Can you free up that money, right, and pay a collective of guys, right, that are good, that are young, that kind of fit your team's mold and chemistry, right? Can you do that, and would that be better served than to kind of use all your resources for a guy that albeit that he's good, you don't believe in him though. You don't believe in him, despite everybody else believing him. I don't. I'm kind of with the Mavericks for real. Like I'm not terribly mad at them. Business aspect, it is something, you know. The other rumor that I heard was that the Mavericks might be moving to Vegas, and so like they're trying to save money in certain ways, especially with payroll, so they can, just divert their resources and attract something different, right? I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if that trade kind of pans out or if they'll have egg on their face. One thing I thought that was interesting was that, and what made me realize was that Mark Cuban, he still is an owner of the Mavericks, but he gave away his majority ownership. So he wasn't even consulted. Like he wasn't even consulted. Maybe he doesn't have to be consulted, but like he was kind of confused by it. Jason Kidd didn't even know that it was happening. Maybe there's some stuff going on with the GM. I've been hearing some rumors with that, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But only time will tell. Only time will tell. But I think the Mavericks do get a little bit better for this season, and then the Lakers, they're better in 2 3 years. Maybe we'll see if he stays healthy and everything. We'll see. It's crazy because the Lakers get to have him at a discount. Like if the Lakers resign him, they still gonna be paying money, but they're not gonna be paying $70 million a year. So maybe it works out. Maybe it works out. So let's move on though. Let's move on. Other trades, some lighter ones, but there was a three-team trade with the Bulls, the Kings, and the Spurs. So three teams that are not doing well at all. But De'Aaron Fox goes to the Spurs. So so it's gonna be. It might not help him for this year, but you got the future. You got Wembyana. You got You got De'Aaron Fox. You got Harrison Barnes still now. They got this Stephon Castle kid. I got Chris Paul now. Chris Paul is probably gonna retire pretty like probably after this season or next season. So De'Aaron Fox is your future guard. You bring him up with Wembanyama. It doesn't sound so bad. Zach LaVine going to the Kings. I'm kind of glad that he's out of Chicago. But yo, I seen this post where I guess he did like his barber did like a homage to him, and because he said he'd been cutting him for the last 8 years, and I was like, wait up. So Zach LaVine's 29 years old, but he been with the Bulls for 8 years. This was his eighth season with the Bulls, and I'm like, I feel so bad for him. I'm like, man, that's a waste of talent. And they've been trying to move him, or there's been rumors that like teams have been trying to acquire him for years. And I wonder, well, yeah, he did resign. When he resigned that one year, I was like, yo, do you really believe in this organization's like movements, or did you just kind of stay because you get more money for staying? But I've been surprised. I've been wanting to see him on like a different team, like to see if he's really that guy somewhere else. Like obviously he's really good, but can he be that good on a contender? Now he's still not on a contender, but maybe I don't know. The Kings giving up De'Aaron Fox, it kind of really changes like the dynamic of that franchise. Let's see, De'Aaron Fox. How old is De'Aaron Fox? De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, De'Aaron Fox just turned 27. So De'Aaron Fox is like right now in the prime of his career. And so a little bit younger than Zach LaVine, but Zach LaVine's probably like in the prime of his career as well. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Jimmy Butler just went to the Warriors. Man, they had to trade quite a few pieces and some draft picks, and then they're gonna like re-sign him. I think that's a bad trade. Like I feel like it's no point to get Jimmy Butler. Like Jimmy Butler, I don't think helps you for this season. I don't think Butler is the same player that he's been, and I don't know, man. He's just known for messy exits, man. I think he starts stuff, man, everywhere he's at. So. I don't know. I think that's a non-story, non-factor. They are a team that's like playoff bound in terms of like, especially like playing, but I don't think Jimmy takes you over the top. I don't think he's that much better than Wiggins right now. At this point in his career, I don't think he's that much better than Wiggins. So I guess they kept Kaminga, right? They didn't trade Kaminga. Let me see. Jimmy Butler trade. Let's see. Jimmy Butler. Yeah, they didn't give up Kaminga, but they did. But they gave up Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and Andrew Wiggins. So I guess they still got their core. Draymond, you got Steph, you got Kaminga, and then now you got Jimmy Butler. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. It was another little trade. It was Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. I think they just wanted to unload Middleton's salary because he hasn't really been playing that much in the last couple years. So we'll see what goes with that. But the NBA, man, yeah, very very exciting time. Kind of can't wait to see what happens in the playoffs. Uh, I would like to go to another game before the season's over, but we'll see if that's possible or not. So, and then last but not least, let's talk about the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl, man, this is one of the craziest and biggest like travel weekends of the year. And what I said in the beginning was that this is a time for entertainment. So yeah, you have the Grammys, you have the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Also this month you have Mardi Gras. But like one of the reasons why anybody travels to New Orleans is for the food, right? Like that's why you go. You go down to New Orleans for the food, and then you're excited, and you're looking to eat these traditional dishes. You're looking to eat the gumbos and the crawfishes and the shrimp and the Cajun stuff. You're looking to eat all this type of stuff, all this Southern Cajun delectable goodness. However, it's surprising that like. yo, we don't even know when restaurant we don't I wonder if we always know. Well, if you're just traveling there for the first time, even if you look on for reviews, you don't actually know what some of these places are going to taste like. So right now, right, it's the Super Bowl's down in New Orleans, and Gordon Ramsay, man, Gordon Ramsay's like like one of my favorite white dudes, bro. And he's been doing this series, Kitchen Nightmares. I don't know if you ever heard of Kitchen Nightmares. Well, what he does is basically it's not no undercover stuff. Like he goes into these establishments, to these restaurants, and he tries to basically he acts as a consultant, and he tries to improve the restaurant in some way, shape, or form. Right, at some capacity, he tries to change the restaurant. Um, some of these places they have problems with management. Sometimes they have problems with like the kitchen. Sometimes they have a problems with the actual cooking or management or marketing. It's all these different reasons. And what he goes in there to do, he gives you like a little makeover, and then he tries to fix your business from within. Maybe change your menu. Maybe he helps to train your staff. All the above. Well, he has so this Kitchen Nightmares, he's doing a bunch of these episodes called leading to the Super Bowl. So all the restaurants are down in New Orleans. And it's crazy because people from up north, right? We think about New Orleans and that's the thing, we think about eating. And yo, going watching this show makes me so like cautious. Like and I'm definitely gonna be looking at reviews, but and have the restaurants kind of plan like if I'm gonna go to New Orleans, I have to have my restaurants planned out. Like I'm not winging it, right? I'm not winging it at all. I don't care if I gotta wait a long time. I need to know that I'm eating at a good place because when we see some of these places on this Kitchen Nightmares, it makes you kind of scared to eat places. But um yeah, man, there was some restaurants where there was people that owned the restaurant that had no business owning the restaurant, like they were in like the medical field, and then they don't know what they're doing. They had a kitchen. They had in this one, like a lot of these, it takes like one episode to finish everything. The first restaurant that they featured, they had to be on there for 2 episodes, and they had to literally train and teach the guy in the back how to cook. Like he had no cooking experience at all. They even hired a chef, right? Gordon Ramsay hired a chef to be with them for a month to kind of help them transition out. Then there was like another little business that was like, deeper in the cut of New Orleans or kind of like on the outskirts of New Orleans, but a restaurant that's like a family owned thing, and they had like 100 menu items, but like it's crazy because some of these places, they're serving you like frozen food when it's supposed to be fresh. Some of these places have like sanitary issues that you don't know nothing about. Some of these places have mold and things with their food and their kitchens. Some of these places are like reusing old food and cooking in old grease, and like it's completely gross. It's completely gross. I think the first couple episodes were like really bad in terms of like sanitation and health. There was a vegan restaurant that had like a lot of mold and had a nasty cook that didn't know what he was doing and was working at his own pace. It was a vegan only restaurant, and then they give you like a little update of where the restaurant's at. That restaurant ended up closing. Like she ended up closing her business. But the one episode that I was really interested in seeing was the most recent one, and it featured a restaurant called Three Southern Girls, and it's on the outs. It's in Jefferson, so like I guess not in the heart of New Orleans, but kind of a little bit on the outside. But black owned business, and I was interested because some of these people do not take to Gordon Ramsay's criticism well. Some of these people are like delusional and like they don't want to take accountability. But it's like, yo, if Gordon Ramsay comes to a place and he talking about your food is weak, bro. Like if he has the audacity to even eat your place and he's trying to give you some tips, he ain't just hating. He's trying to help you. You better take heed of his advice. But yo, and I need y'all people in the South and especially in New Orleans and Louisiana. I need y'all to correct me if I'm wrong. But like, yo, she has some dishes, right? She had mac and cheese, which I love mac and cheese, right? Love it. Like I love it. So I see it. Yo, is and tell me this is not a thing. This was mac and cheese with spaghetti noodles. It was like long spaghetti noodles. And I'm like, first off, fundamentally, that's not macaroni and cheese because it's not macaroni. Um, but ew, it looked like just spaghetti with like a cheese sauce. And that shit looked so weak. And I'm like, yo, I just kept looking at it and like she bragging about it, and I'm thinking like, yo, no, I'll take it back. Like if I go to New Orleans and I happen to get mac and cheese as a side dish, right? And y'all give me some bullshit ass spaghetti noodles in some nasty looking white sauce. The noodles just look wet. It don't even look like a cheese sauce. If you serve me that, I'm throwing it away in your face. Like don't serve me nothing like that. And I hope that's not a Louisiana staple. Because I would be disappointed. But um Gordon Ramsay said her gumbo tasted weak. And he kept criticizing her because she was like taking like shortcuts. And that's what you notice, man. You notice that, man, it is so hard to run a restaurant business. They say like that's the easiest type of business to fail. It's statistically it's a business that's most likely to fail. And just think about food costs and like how much you got to pay your employees, but then also like quality control and then marketing and then there's a lot of different aspects of running a restaurant that I think, the regular person kind of takes for granted. I think about locally in my area, there's been several restaurants that have kind of opened up, like, black owned and like, homegrown type restaurants. And many have failed. Many have failed, but there are a few people that like have stuck around, and you gotta applaud them, man. You gotta applaud them because that's not an easy thing to do. Um, but yeah, it was definitely interesting. But it makes you. I love that show. Like I love anything Gordon Ramsay kind of puts out for referral. And but it definitely makes me like kind of side eye and look like, yo, am I eating at the right place? Because you might have ate it. Yo, a lot of people that have gone down to New Orleans has maybe eaten at some of these places. So maybe we'll find the names of all. One of them was called Iberville Cafe. That was in like Bourbon. That was on Bourbon Street. Another place called Volio's. The vegan place was called Kindred, but like they closed that down. And then the fourth one that I seen was yeah, it was this three Southern girls, and that was in Jefferson. So maybe you've eaten at these places, but like I want to know. I want to know if they live up to the hype. I want to know, and all of them got a great makeover, and they all got like slightly new menus. The ones that he has fixed, and yeah, I'm definitely. If I go to New Orleans though, like I said, I'm gonna have a food itinerary because I'm not tolerating bad food going into another state that's known in another city that's known for their food. Like I can't tolerate that. So, but what do you think? What do you think? What do you think, man? If you're still watching, I need you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. What do you think, man? Super Bowl? Do you have any Super Bowl predictions in terms of the score? I kind of don't want to give a Super Bowl prediction with the score. I want to be surprised a little bit. I do in my gut. I know who I want to win, and I don't know if I want to share that because I don't want to necessarily jinx it. But yeah, when I come back and when we talk about the Super Bowl again, I'm a brag if internally if I was right. If I was wrong internally, then I'm gonna let you know. I'll tell you. I'll be like, yeah, man, I really wanted this team to win, but they just didn't pull it out. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Eagles fans is already hedging their bets. They talk about the refs a lot. They talk about, I'm seeing all these different videos about refs. So we'll see, man. We'll see. You gotta play above that, and you can't let the game come down into the ref's hands. So that's all I'll say about that. But again, if you're still watching, man, I appreciate your viewership. Appreciate you joining the conversation. I appreciate your the engagement and everything on social media. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling. But yeah, this is episode 180 of the 280 Plus. This is 180 of the 280 Plus podcast, y'all. I'm out. Peace.